This is Debra Jayne East of Skywatcher Radio. We're working in conjunction with DJ Flame of UFOradio.pro from Great Britain. UFOs, paranormal, discussions about all kinds of things that go on in the sky, with a little bit of music. That's skywatcherradio.com and UFOradio.pro. Come on, join the debate.
Is there anybody out there?
The lights in the night sky. Skywatchers. We're watching.
Did you see that?
Skywatcher
on Skywatcher Radio. skywatcherradio.com.
This is author Debra Jayne East for Skywatcher Radio Show, and we're having a rainy evening here in North Carolina. We're at our office, Skywatcher Studio, in beautiful downtown Pilot Mountain. I have a fascinating guest for you this evening, and the first thing I want to say is he is a very, very cool guy. He's my Facebook buddy. His name is Favian Pierce, and let me tell you a little bit about Favian before we get into our topic tonight. Favian Pierce is 31 years old. He grew up in San Diego, California, where he experienced shadow people, ghosts, and many other types of spirits. At the age of 22, he moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where he and his friends witnessed UFOs for the first time, along with a visit from a possible ET/human hybrid and more shadow people. Favian now lives on the East Coast, where he continues to watch the skies for other sightings. Well, Favian, how are you doing this evening?
Good, Deborah. How are you?
Great. I made it through a rainstorm a few minutes ago, so I'm feeling good. And it's great that you can't see me. My hair is all plastered on my head, so it's good. I look really a mess. But I tell you, you fascinated me with a story that you told me about the possible human hybrid. But my first question to you is about something from your childhood that was earlier. And that was, you told me that you felt you had always been empathic even when you were young. What made you decide that that's what was going on with you?
Well, I have many experiences with that sort of ability or gift, I guess you could say, with my family members and just people that were always around, even in school, being able to feel certain energies or certain feelings, vibrations, and stuff like that. I didn't know what it was actually until I grew up, and didn't know there was even a name for it. But there was all sorts of instances where I could feel what's going on in my environment, or just mostly with my siblings and with people at school and stuff like that, and being able to feel and know what people are thinking by their feelings, and I didn't realize what it was, like I said, until later on.
Did you maybe think that maybe everybody
hear other people's experiences with the same sort of thing?
Did you think maybe everybody had that ability when you were young? I mean, it must have been pretty perplexing.
No, I didn't, because it kind of I almost felt like there was something. People would make me feel like there was something wrong with me, because I'd get emotional a lot, and I had many doctor visits to just so that they can tell me that there was nothing wrong with me. So I mean, it was.
What did your mother think?
She didn't know what to think for a little while, until she started. She was a very spiritual and religious woman, and so she would always tell me things like to lean on God, and that God told her that, you know, I would be special in some way or for something, I don't know what. But she always believed, after a little while, that I was probably gifted in some way.
Well, that was a good mom because she was trying to comfort you. So I can imagine that probably did make you feel better. So that was good. She was a good mom.
Yeah, she was. She did. She'd tell me a lot, and I told her a lot of my experiences while I was growing up.
Well, let me ask you. You shared with me about your possible meeting with the human hybrid, and I have never been so fascinated. When you were talking about it, it made the hair stand up on my arm because I could so relate to what you were saying. So I want you to just tell our listeners, just explain about the situation and what happened.
Okay, well, one day this was already when I had moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and you know, I didn't think much of it at the time because, you know, I had a lot going on at the time, and I was at work when it happened. I worked at Wild Oats Natural Market, and they closed down. But when I was working there one night, I was cleaning one of the cold cases, you know, and I see through the corner of my eye this guy was walking straight in from the entrance of the store, and he walked straight up to me.
Could you describe what he looked like? Was he like out of the ordinary looking?
He was very out of the ordinary. But I didn't look at him directly right away. I kind of waited till he walked up to me to say something, so I didn't notice what he looked like until he actually said hi. And his energy, when I felt it, kind of felt like he was a little excited. So as soon as I looked up at him, the first thing I noticed was his eyes, and his eyes were completely black.
When you said look up, he must have been really tall.
Yes, yeah, he was a little tall. He was taller than me, and I'm 5'9", so he was, I don't know, 6 something, maybe 7 feet. I'm not sure. He was pretty tall, long and slinky, like kind of very thin and slender. But the first thing I noticed was his eyes. His eyes were all black. There was no white around there was no iris to be noticed or any white to them. It was just completely black.
That would freak me out right there, honestly.
It did spook me a little bit at first, only because I haven't seen anything like that except for on television, you know. And it was weird. It did take me by surprise. He was bald. He had no hair whatsoever on his face or his body or head or anything. No eyebrows, no eyelashes, nothing. No hair at all. And his skin was sort of like a clay color, terracotta, like a terracotta clay or something like that. It was that color, and the texture of his skin looked very smooth and soft, and it almost looked like fake skin. And
did he have wrinkles? Oh, I mean, could you see His arms, did he have like any hair on his arms?
No hair, no freckles, nothing. Not a scar, nothing. His skin was perfect.
How was he dressed?
He was dressed in black clothing, all black. The stitching was a little different than what I've seen. Black shoes, except the fabric of his clothes were almost like a faded black, almost like worn material, like thrifty type look of material. You know what I mean? Kind of just like a worn faded material, but it was black, faded black.
Wow. Well, he definitely had to stand out. I'll have to say that.
Right, and it spooked me a little bit because I have not seen anyone who's ever looked like that before, and after he said hi, I noticed a woman was chasing, or maybe was like following him, trying to hurry up to catch up to him. And she noticed my expression on my face and how kind of surprised I was. And first thing she told me was, "Oh, I'm sorry. He's special. I'm helping him shop." And I said, "Oh, okay."
I guess that was sort of a surprise. So she was acting like she was maybe like a caretaker, or
right, exactly.
Like she was supervising him.
She was wearing scrubs, from a clinic or a hospital or something. She was wearing colorful-looking scrubs.
Did he speak at all?
No, he didn't. He didn't speak except for when he said hi to me. After that, she just kept looking at him, and they'd look at each other, and then that was it. And she said, "Well, I asked them if there was anything they'd like to sample, because we gave samples out there, you know what I mean?" So, after I asked if they'd like to sample anything, she looked at him, and he looked at her, and then she looked back at me, and she said, "No, I think we're ready to order." I said, "Okay." So she ordered 3 different salads, small portions of 3 different salads, and I can't remember what salads they were, but
were they all for him, do you think?
I don't know. I thought they were for him because she said she was helping him shop.
Right.
So I assumed they were for him, except she didn't ask him what he wanted. They just looked at each other, and then she ordered. And so I grabbed the salads out of the cold case one by one, and I'm kind of freaking out a little bit in my thoughts, because I'm thinking that they're speaking, like my thoughts to myself was that they're speaking telepathically. I don't know why I was thinking that, but he looked different, and I didn't want him to see that I was kind of a little, I guess, scared, at the fact that, he was different, and I didn't want him to think that I was prejudiced in any way, because I'm not,
Right. But you were just a little bit, it was unusual. And
I was taken back a little bit, so I didn't want him to feel or sense, or that I was startled a little or indifferent in any way. So
you're just trying to be cool.
Right.
You're just trying to be cool.
And so I'm telling myself to calm down. I said, I'm telling myself in my head. It's probably just a medical condition. He's probably not as weird as I'm assuming, because I'm, my first reaction almost was, oh, is he demonic or something, or, what's going on here? Because, you see television and you see a lot of like shows, like the show Supernatural, where all the demons have the black eyes, or
yeah, they always do that. Whenever they're getting ready to do something evil, their eyes turn black.
Right. So, I mean, those are the kind of things that that popped in my head, and I was like, no, he seems very nice. He's probably not evil, and I'm pretty sure he's not a demon. I was raised to assume everything was demonic or bad, because if it's not godly, it's got to be evil.
Did he stare at you? I mean, or smile, or did he have any kind of recognition about what you were doing?
After I was telling myself that all the stuff that I was saying, like that to myself, that he's probably born this way, it's probably a medical condition, and don't let him think you're prejudiced. And I was telling myself these things, and I looked back, and I noticed that he had a grin on his face, that he was kind of smiling and getting a little excited. He started bouncing a little bit. He reminded me of an autistic child, just kind of bouncing with excitement, and like you could tell he was getting happy for some reason. And so I'd start passing the salads, as I go along, filling up containers, and I'm still telling myself, okay, is he like? Because I noticed how he was getting excited, and I'm thinking, okay, what's going on here? Why is he getting so excited? And then I was already feeling kind of strange. I was feeling a little weird about the whole thing. I was feeling a weird energy. I felt like he was entering my mind, like he was listening in on my thoughts, and he can hear everything I'm thinking if I'm saying it out loud. And the more I kept talking myself down out of being paranoid, the more excited he would get, and the more he would look at his companion and just get excited. And so
it sounds like that he might have been empathic too. Yes, empathic, reading your thoughts, and he knew that you understood that he was different.
Yeah, I almost feel like he might have been telepathic.
Wow.
And so I'm just reading energy and feelings and stuff like that, but I felt like he was actually in my head. Like he was actually hearing everything I'm saying.
Did it scare you?
At first, yeah, because now I'm really talking myself down, and I'm really paying attention to what I'm thinking, so that if he is reading, if he is hearing me, then now I really want him to not think.
Yeah, if you were thinking about escaping, you don't want him to read your mind and say, "Hey, the dude's going out the back door."
Yeah, well, that kind of thought never crossed my mind. I didn't think anything, bad would happen or anything like that. I wasn't in fear of like my life or anything, like most stories I've heard with black-eyed children, because that's what he reminded me of was the black-eyed children. Except he wasn't a child. He was tall. I'm not.
Would you attach an age to him?
I couldn't. No, I couldn't. I couldn't attach an age to him. I couldn't figure out how old he was, because his demeanor was very childlike, and with how perfect his skin was, and with no hair or anything like that, it was very hard to to guess an age. I mean, he had really big black eyes. His head was egg-shaped, so I mean...
Oh, gosh.
He did have ears, so I mean, he didn't look too abnormal, you know.
Were his fingers, did he have long fingers, or did you notice his hands a whole lot?
He was long. It's like I took a look at his hands and his arms because they were exposed, and his hands and his arms were just very long. I mean, they looked human, but the skin was so perfect, and his hands and arms and everything about him was just long.
Wow. So how did they depart? Did they stay for a little bit, or right when you gave them the food, did they get ready and go?
He took his she grabbed actually the containers, and I asked them if there was anything they'd like to order, anything else, or maybe sample, and they looked at each other, and she looked back at me and she said, "No, I think that's it. I think we're ready." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, thank you. Have a good day." And then they started to leave, but they went towards the back of the store. And so as she was walking away, he kind of lingered behind and kept staring at me and smiling. And as he started to walk away, he said bye, and I noticed that he didn't move his mouth to say bye.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And so I just said bye, and he walked away excitedly. He was very happy. He just reminded me of an excited child. That's what his energy was like. It was very childlike. He was happy. He was happy when he left.
I guess you probably thought about this for quite a long time after everything ended that night.
Actually, I didn't. After he left and I had a chance to break away for a break, I went around the store asking people if they'd seen this guy and this woman he was with wearing scrubs. And I went to the cashiers and I asked them if they'd seen him, and everyone had told me that none of them had seen him or noticed.
Well, that's quite odd, isn't it?
It is. And then I said, well, that's weird. And then I went back to the deli area, because that's where I worked, and it was in the deli. And then after that, I just didn't think anything else about it. I didn't think about that until the day me and my friends saw the UFOs.
Oh, okay. Well, that's exactly what I was going to ask you about next. Tell us where you were at and who you were with and all the juicy details.
Well, I was at my friend's house. Him and his girlfriend. We had planned to. It was a night of a meteor shower, actually. See, when I saw that the hybrid, that was back in August of 2008. And like I said, I didn't think anything about it until later on, when I was at my friend's house, and this happened August 12th, 2012, and it was a night of a meteor shower. We were going to head to the Sandia Mountains to go spend the evening there so we can watch the meteor shower. But as we're discussing whether we want to go or not, we were eating dinner in his backyard. My friend John and his girlfriend, at the time. And we were discussing whether we were going to go up or not because we noticed that it was starting to get cloudy, and we weren't sure if we were going to be able to see any meteors because of a storm that looked like it was rolling in. So this was around sunset. I'm not sure what time it was exactly, but I noticed that the sun was starting to set. It was still light out, and as we're sitting there eating dinner in the backyard, because they had a nice sized table and chairs out in the back, it started to get really windy and more cloudy, and then lightning started to strike around. And I think the first thing I noticed that was weird about the storm was in one section of the sky, the lightning kept striking over and over and over. And I thought that was really weird because, lightning moves. It's supposed to move anyway.
Right.
And so I thought that was really strange. And I pointed it out to my friends. And I said, look at that, watch that lightning. And I told them to just watch it for a little bit. And as they were watching it, they started, we were all agreeing that it's not really moving. And I said, okay, now that's weird. And then a little after I said that, we noticed that there was a transformer you can kind of see from his backyard, couple streets or maybe one street over, I think. The street in front of the house behind his house, there was a transformer there for the neighborhood, and it just blew out. Sparks went flying everywhere, and all the power in the neighborhood went out. And then I said, okay, that's weird. I said, this is how the whole thing felt really, really weird, and it felt not normal.
Well, I mean, if the first thing, was weird, I mean, having a second thing happen like that, yeah, that was sort of like, Twilight Zone.
Right, and the timing was perfect. It was just one thing after another, and it just really felt weird. And all I told them was, okay, this is weird. This is how those alien movies start. And as soon as I said that, my friend points to a light he sees above the neighbor's tree. And he says it's moving. He's all, what is that? And we just all three of us just kind of stare at it for a little bit, and it's moving very slowly over the trees, and then it comes around over into the other neighbor's house, and it's like going really slow, almost like it's looking for something. And from where I was sitting, from what I could see, it almost looked like a street light, and I thought maybe one of those street lamps, and I thought maybe it was like falling over really slow or something. And I said, I don't know. I said, what is it? And then I stand up and I look at it, and it's not a street lamp. There's nothing attached to it. It's just a ball of. And so I said, I think it's a UFO. And we just kind of sat there quietly. Well, they sat there quietly while I was standing, but we were just staring at it for a moment and kind of trying to figure out if it really was a UFO. And as we noticed it kept flying, I stood up on it was like a small brick wall that we like to kind of sit on, I stood up on it and to look at it better, and I noticed it was kind of egg-shaped, and it was it kind of looked like a fireball, and I just thought it looked really weird. And I said, why aren't we recording this? And I told my buddy John, I said, record it, and he takes out his phone and he tries to record it.
What happened?
Well, when we looked at the video, it was just a black screen with a tiny little red dot. You couldn't see anything. So it was just like a distorted screen. It was just all black, like you just couldn't get a picture out of it. So
that's how it always is. I've tried to get pictures myself, and you look at it with your human eye, and you see it pretty well, but unless you've got a really a camera that's got a big zoom on it, it's just hard to see the details of lights, things like that.
Well, it wasn't that far away.
How far would you say it was?
That one was, I don't know. That one was a good distance, maybe 50 to 80 feet away from us.
That's pretty close.
And then as soon as I turn around and I look up, and right above his house is another one.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
Did it look the same?
Yes, it was exactly the same as the other. It was coming right above us, and I freaked out, jumped down. I think it was maybe 20 feet above our heads, if that. And it was very close enough to see that it was the size of a car, and it was egg-shaped, and the whole bottom of it was like it was burning, like burning hot embers. It was just like it was not on fire, but burning. And the whole thing was just shining orange light.
Wow.
And so, I don't know.
How were your friends at this point? What were their reactions?
They didn't see it because I was the only one that looked up and saw it, and I jumped down and I went to hide behind this 4x4 post, and
well, you were just trying to be safe.
Yeah, but I was not doing a good job at hiding.
Well, I imagine with, it being so close and big and everything, yeah, I would be worried myself about, if it spotted me.
Yeah, well, all I could say is I was freaking out a little bit, and I was just kind of hysterically chanting, "Please don't let it see me. Please don't let it see me. Please don't let it see me." Like I was praying, "Please don't let it see me." And
wow.
And then my friend John was like, why are you freaking out like that? And I said, come and look, just come and look. And he came to stand where I was standing, and as soon as he looked up and saw it, he kind of like ducked down, and he was like, what the heck is that?
Did you feel like you were I bet you felt like you were in a science fiction movie.
I sure did. And when you look at when it looked like movie magic. It looked like it wasn't real. Like, I don't know. It was like seeing something out of a movie. It was hard to believe.
Did they eventually disappear?
They didn't disappear. We just watched them fly off into the distance until we couldn't see them anymore.
That sounds really cool, but I'm sure if I was experiencing, I would be, afraid. I
was at first, but as soon as they got, as soon as they weren't above us, we weren't scared, and we came out from under the awning and just watched them fly away. And it was a good while as they flew away. They weren't really fast or anything. They were kind of flying against the wind, but they were at a steady level pace, and
just going about their business.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Did anybody in the community the next day, or did you read anything in the paper, about this?
I haven't seen anything on it so far. I did look it up. I've tried Googling it. I've tried finding something. I can't find anything on that.
You may have been the only ones that witnessed it.
I think so, but what's so weird is that there were neighbors out. We could see that there were neighbors out when it happened, but I whether they were looking or not, I don't know. But what was weird is later that night when the power people came to fix the power, and I was leaving my friend's house with my sister, and she wasn't with us when we saw the UFOs, but she came to pick me up, and as we were driving away, we noticed the whole street along all those other streets, it was just a big line of white trucks with flashing lights. That was weird to me, because why do you need so many trucks to fix one transformer? I didn't understand that.
Exactly. Did you notice any police officers?
Nope, no police, nothing like that. I'm not even sure if they were even the electric company or something like. I wasn't even sure if that's what they were. They were just these white trucks with flashing lights. Nothing, no logos, nothing on their trucks to indicate who they were.
You said this sort of made you think about, that guy that you met at the deli. Were you thinking maybe, hey, they might land and who knows who might come out?
No, I didn't. I was too scared.
Well, that's I'd be thinking about that. Well, if they land, who is it that's going to come out of the little hatch and everything? But that certainly was an incredible experience. And I guess did you think before you saw the UFOs that they existed? Did you think that in your head, or did seeing those UFOs cement it for you?
To be honest, I've always believed that there was aliens or extraterrestrials, and I've always believed that there's UFOs out there. I've never seen UFOs before, but I have seen shadow people before. And ever since I was little, I've always connected shadow people with extraterrestrials or some sort of interdimensional being of some sort. But
when is the first time that you saw a shadow person? Because I really wasn't aware a lot about shadow people until I interviewed DJ Flame, which is Russ Kellett, and he spoke about the shadow people.
The first time...
Did you say you were young when you first saw them?
Yes. I think the first time I remember seeing them, I was 6 years old.
Were you at home or asleep or?
Yes, always at home. Always in bed, yes.
And did you get frightened?
When I was little, I used to get scared a lot because I remember later on, when I was maybe 9 or 10 years old, I seen another shadow person with glowing red eyes. And that was the one I was most afraid of.
Oh gosh, I would be very worried.
But I've seen other ones that didn't have any glowing eyes or anything like that. They were just a shadow figure, and the figure was in the form of like an ET, your typical alien, you know, like a gray or something like that. It was just, you know, egg-shaped head, long skinny neck, you know, skinny body.
Was there any communication?
No.
From the shadow people? They just made their presence known to you?
Yeah. Every time I'll look at it or look at one, as soon as I look at it, it tries to hide, or it goes back into the wall or something. So there's never really been any communication that I can.
Well, Favian, your life has surely been filled with paranormal events.
Yes, it has, and it's.
Do you still watch the skies?
I do. I haven't seen anything out here, not yet. But I haven't. While I've been out here, to be honest, I haven't seen any shadow people out here either. So.
Well, that's incredible. I've been hearing more and more about the shadow people, so I am certainly interested in the fact that you have saw them, you know, throughout your life. And seeing the UFOs, I tell you, that had to be an experience, seeing two of them.
Yeah, it was. And I was so happy that I wasn't alone when I saw them.
Yeah, having friends with you, at least, you know, you would think, well, was I crazy if I was by myself, you know? So that was good. Your friends were there.
And, you know, some people have mentioned to me when I tell the story, they say, well, maybe you're hallucinating. My thinking is on that is if we were hallucinating for some strange reason, why would anybody have the same hallucination as other people? That doesn't make sense to me.
No, some people just try to use that as an excuse, you know, to discredit. But, you know, it was your experience.
Right. And so it's just, that logic doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, Favian, I want to thank you so much for coming forward and telling your story, and I hope that all the other people out there that are listening that have similar experiences will know that it's okay to talk about these things. And, you know, that's what this radio show is all about, is letting people talk about their experiences. Do you have any last comments or anything that you'd like to say to everybody? Well, I do want to mention that the only reason why I was scared of these things is because I knew nothing about them. The more I look into it, or even the last experiences I've had, like with the shadow people, I had no sense of fear with them. I feel as if they wanted to harm us, they would have already done it. We would have already felt it, or something. We'd have something to show that we were harmed. I'm not saying they're not bad, but I'm not saying they're not good, but I'm not saying they're not bad either. Like, I don't know what they are. You know, I don't know if they're bad. Well, your experience, you're just telling what you experienced and what you felt. So I think that's important, because you do hear people say that, you know, they were afraid for their life, or bad things happen with, you know, abductions. But I appreciate you telling your story.
No problem.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking with you. I want to thank all our listeners and tell you to tune in to skywatcherradio.com. And also, we're working in conjunction with DJ Flame on UFOradio.pro. Join us for the debate. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you, Fabian. I appreciate you being on.
Okay, thank you.
You've been listening to Skywatcher Radio Show.
Is there anybody out there?
If you'd like to be a guest on the show, contact us through our website, skywatcherradio.com, or on our Facebook page.